Hi, welcome back to the Tori Nook Talk Show, where real conversations meet real success. I'm Tori Nook. I'm the CEO and founder of Anchor Retail, and I'm an entrepreneur, wife of three kids. And in each episode, I feature founders, entrepreneurs, wellness leaders, and personal development voices who've built their successful careers and their lives with intention, intuition, and a strong sense of who they are. We talk about the decisions that shape a life, the moments that test you, and the habits and the mindset that keep you moving forward. My goal is to learn how people create their own success on their own terms. And I want to share those insights with all the listeners. And today I have my friend and I guess you could say partner because I'm LP and Butchier Investments, Aaron Zucker. And Aaron is the founder and CEO of Zucker Investment Group. He's one of the nation's leading value add single tenant real estate and growth equity firms. Aaron's responsible for cultivating and executing the company's vision, their transactions, their operations, and their investments. He's also a partner in multiple ventures, including American Family Care and also Seven Brew Coffee, as well as Small Sliders, giving him like a very unique perspective on both the real estate and the operational sides of the brick and mortar growth. So prior to finding ZIG, Aaron served as the senior vice president of leasing for South Florida Family Office. That's where I originally met him many moons ago, overseeing more than 3 million square feet of retail real estate across 12 states. And he yielded over 100 executed retail leases in his career. Aaron holds a bachelor's and a master's degree from the University of Alabama, and he's an active member in YPO. And he's also the host of the Limitless podcast, which I've been on. And he does a great job. He's got great guests on there, so definitely check it out. And he serves on several nonprofit boards. He's widely known as a thought leader in commercial real estate and franchising. He's often appearing on multiple podcasts and panels. He MCs a lot of events, and he is the proud dad of two children, Sophie and Ari. And he's out of Charlotte, so I don't think we want to miss that. But the question is, where are you really from, Aaron? As we know, Charlotte people
So I can gladly get into the where I'm really from.
Yeah,
There's very few of us actually from Charlotte, which is
I
why
know.
probably you made that jab. And then if you're Jewish and from Charlotte, you are therefore considered a Junicorn as opposed to just a unicorn, which is I am proudly one of those. So
Oh my God.
yeah, here we are getting interesting already as we get into the show.
I love the nicknames. It's interesting.
Indeed.
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up born and raised in Charlotte, but due to divorces, job changes, the whole thing, I in every suburb you can think of in Charlotte. The one consistency through my upbringing was school. I went to the same school.
Cool. So when we know you graduated from the University of Alabama, did you start working at Peb like right after, or what did you do?
No, so my commercial real estate story can't happen without including that I did go to the greatest college in the history of all colleges, the University of Alabama. And the reason for that is I had no idea what I wanted to do really. I took a really shitty business plan. Can I say shitty on this? Sorry. I took
I
a
don't care.
pretty terrible business plan approach by going to an out of state school and getting a very soft degree in communications. Nothing
Hmm.
wrong with communications degrees, but I have one and not sure what that does. So my junior year, my friends and I were sitting around drinking one night and decided it would be a good idea to buy a bar.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's random.
Yeah. And like young, dumb college, especially men, have conversations like that a lot. I think the main difference between myself and my friends and I, compared to the other young, dumb boys, I guess would be the better way to describe it,
Yeah.
than us, is that we actually pulled the trigger and did it. So that was
Wow.
my introduction into entrepreneurship for sure. And shortly after buying the failing bar that we bought, which we were fortunate enough to be able to turn around, not because we knew what we were doing, I can assure you of that,
Right.
but really caught wind of how well our landlord was doing. I learned that he had 400 properties like that where he was collecting cash
Wow.
flow. And we were working really hard in cleaning up vomit and sneaking in underage kids and all the things that you would expect in
Yeah.
a college bar. And just thought to myself, like, this is crazy. This guy just collects rent and we work our butts off just to be able to pay him rent. So I was like, this commercial real estate thing is interesting. Unrelated to that, I got an internship in Atlanta one summer at a sports agency. lucked into running into a family friend when I was back home in Charlotte visiting. And he was like, "Oh, you should connect with my son, Stuart Miller, who's been in the business a long time." But he was nice enough to take me in one summer in this beautiful condo in downtown Buckhead in Atlanta, which is like,
Oh, nice.
yeah, great part of the town,
Yeah.
especially at that time.
Best part, right.
And he gave me like a sweetheart deal on the rent. I was like, "What do you do?" Which was code for like, "How do you make all this money at such a young age?" And
Of course.
he was an in-house leasing guy for a very
Mhm.
prominent landlord in that region. And so he's like, "You should
Oh, okay.
try retail leasing when you get out of school." So between my landlord with the bar and Stu's experience, I was like, "All right, like I'll give this a real shot." And so my business partner agreed to stay back and run the bar post graduation for me. I moved to Atlanta, got a job DLC management, leasing there, and then moved back to Charlotte. I was afforded an opportunity with Phillips Edison, who at the time was still privately held,
Okay.
and that was a big jump for me because
Mhm.
it gave me the opportunity to lease my own stuff. The way
Okay.
I described my portfolio, though, was it was leasing grocery anchored shopping centers on the wrong side of town with no grocery store.
That sounds about accurate.
Yeah, exactly. So there was a lot of being in
Those are the
Ohio.
things you don't really like to lease unless you want like some wild challenge.
Well, that was it, right? And like I didn't know what I didn't know. Like to me, I was 23 or whatever I was at the time,
Right. You
and
had no idea.
vacancy meant commission.
Right.
Viability of the leasing was not something I was thinking about. So
Yeah.
that really taught me the art of the hunt, the commitment to
Mhm.
prospecting.
Yeah.
Again, using our mutual friend Beth Azor's brain, essentially,
Mhm.
learned a lot from the mentorship side there. A lot of other great mentors
And
along the
Phillips
way.
Edison brought her in to coach you guys.
GLC did, and I was there, and
Or
then
I'm sorry,
Pico
DLC.
did. So I had the opportunity to hear, and it
Oh,
happened like
twice.
yeah,
Oh,
I
they
got her
both did.
twice. I
Okay.
got her twice in
Okay.
like an 18-month stretch.
Okay.
And so was able to leverage her incredible brain. Plus, I was driven. I mean, I really have always been motivated by the opportunity to succeed or not based on my own efforts. So I think those things, with aside from the resource, inclusive of the resources that both of those companies afforded me, Beth being
Mhm.
at the forefront of that, coupled with my just natural DNA, it was a good match.
Yeah.
That success led me to the opportunity to join PEB, which is the family office that you mentioned in the intro
Because
down
that's
in
where you
South
worked
Florida.
before you started Zig, right?
This was all before Zig, yeah. So PEB,
Right.
the Wiener family took a shot on me at 27, which
Mhm.
I every interview I do, every time my story is told, I always am very um, conscious to thank Ian and Bruce and the family for taking a flyer on a young, hungry. I mean,
Yeah.
babyface now. It was even worse when I was
I
27.
remember. I think that's when I met you. It was 10 years ago when you first
Yeah,
started.
that's right. It's been 10
I
years
didn't
since I
meet you
started
at
there.
Phillips
In fact, it was
Edison.
about this week, 10 years ago, I started at PEB. And it was great. It was an unbelievable experience. Not only was I making more money, but don't get me wrong, it was really important. But
Right.
it was more about the educational opportunity to be in the room when they were making critical decisions. I wasn't just a leasing
Okay.
robot anymore.
Oh,
I was part of the conversation when they were determining if they should refi or sell, or who to hire, who to fire.
okay. Is that because they were a family office? You think that they involved you more in these discussions and let you in?
I think so. It was a bigger fish in a smaller pond. Bruce Wiener, who co-founded the company with his father
Hmm.
and brother-in-law back in 19. Ian, if you hear this, I'm sorry. I know I gave the pitch a million times. It's been a while. In 1973, I think,
Hmm.
was a big advocate for me to be in that room. I think they saw how driven I was, and I was pretty forthcoming in my interview process. Like, I was like, I want to own this stuff, so I want to learn how
Oh,
to
you
do it.
told them that in the interview?
I told him that in the interview process,
Okay.
which was a little bit
Interesting.
of foreshadowing of what ultimately ended up happening. But yeah, I think so. Again, I think their culture probably was like that's probably how they would have done it anyway. But they didn't have to take in this young 27-year-old shithead into those meetings, but they chose to
Right.
do it, and
Yeah.
I am forever grateful for them doing that.
Oh, for
Truly.
sure. For sure. We definitely have to give credit to where credit's due, right? Interesting. So when you look back at like those early years and, commercial real estate, what season taught you about like really who you were, not just like as a professional, but as a person and where you were going? It almost sounds like you might have already known at that first interview, but
So, I mean, there's just like this big stigma and excitement around entrepreneurship. Interestingly enough, when I was coming out of school and when I was in school, it wasn't really talked about much. It certainly wasn't something that people studied or anything like that. I certainly couldn't have spelled it. I still can't spell it.
I don't think I knew what entrepreneur meant till way after college.
Yeah, and it's interesting. It wasn't glorified then, but you got to understand. I graduated college in 2011, so people weren't necessarily thinking about starting a business from
Mhm.
08, oh 07, oh 08, oh 09, and 10. They're thinking about
Right.
how they were going to survive and feed their family. Now, some people obviously started
True.
businesses as a result, but social
True.
media was just coming up.
Yeah.
Facebook was really more of a place to talk about what you were doing. But other than that, there was no other social media platforms. There's
No.
this thing called Twitter that started and Instagram that started when I
Right.
was in college. So it
Yeah.
wasn't like today where it's like
Yeah.
this big glorified thing. I just did it because it felt like this guy, whether if it was when we were 21 and wait a second, they're charging us $3 for a Bud Light. They're probably buying it for $1 or even less. Like this is a good business. That's just what went
Mhm.
through my head. And so between that experience with the bar and then learning how even
Mhm.
immediately, like the way DLC set up their deals, I was like, all right, I want to own retail properties. And so it's interesting. I went through all of college not knowing what I wanted to do, but yet 2 or 3 weeks into my working career, I was like, I know exactly.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's interesting how all these synchronicities add up, and like I think like your subconscious is talking to you in the
Yeah.
background and like
Yep.
guiding you through it.
Exactly.
um,
Exactly.
so talk to me about like the decision to go out on your own. Like when did you decide to just do
Yeah.
this? You didn't
Yeah.
just wait
So I had my annual
10 years.
review with the Wiener family at the end of 2017. And I said nothing that was a shock to them, I don't think, which was I really have an
Right.
appetite to want to own the properties myself or with you or however. And they in a very polite, dignified way and respectful were just like, look, this is a family business. It's been that way for at that time, what, 44 years? And they were right to they were fair and they had every right to say it's their business. They were just like, look, like it's
Yeah.
family business. We plan to keep it that way.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, okay, yeah, I haven't been here that long, but I've also made the family a shitload of money. I've gotten them out of some crazy situations tied to like co-tenancy and stuff on some of the box
Yeah.
leasing. I felt like it was the right time to approach that conversation when it was made, when I felt like it was made clear to me that that wasn't going to be an option. I was at the time I was still married and I went home to my wife at the time. And I was just like, hey, like, I don't think this is going to happen. And to her credit, she's conservative. She's an accountant. She was like, look, like if it's planned out accordingly, I'll support you in it. Don't just like do it on a whim. So I spent all of 2018 sort of getting my shit together, if you will. In the midst of
Okay.
that, our daughter was born. So
So
that made
it
it.
took you a year after you quit to get your business
No,
up
no,
and
no. I
running?
didn't quit. I didn't quit in that meeting. It was made clear to
You
me that
didn't.
partnership wasn't on the table. So therefore,
Okay.
I spent the next year working my
Planning.
butt off to make as much money as I could for the Wieners and for myself. But
Hmm.
also, I spent every Saturday morning reading Gary Rappaport's book, Investing in Retail Properties.
Hmm.
Phenomenal read. I would treat it like a textbook
Great
if you're,
tip.
yeah, great read. But treat it
Hmm.
like a textbook if you do decide to read it for whoever's listening out there. And I formulated the template for the business plan, just kind of created it on like the notes app of my iPad. And then in December of 18, I made the leap. I really, what ultimately, your question was what ultimately helped you make that decision? I really was at a point in my life where I felt like I was at the intersection of knowing enough to be dangerous, but not becoming complacent. I didn't want to become the, I'm using air quotes, the old guy now because I'm 37 now, but I didn't want to
Right.
be the guy with the kids in the private school and the country club and all that and not be able to like, I didn't want to risk my family and put my family in a tough spot. So I was like, man, it's only going to get more expensive and more complicated. We have a daughter; she's 6 months
Right.
old. Like, if I'm going to do it, now's the time.
That's really smart on your part to think that way because
Well,
that's so true.
maybe. I mean, it's smart, maybe because it worked out. But like, I just felt like for me, like ultimately, it was about following my gut. Any bad decisions I've ever made have involved not following my gut, and the good ones all have. And I felt
Yeah,
like I
I
was
read
at
your
that.
book on that.
Yeah,
No, I literally did. It's coming out December 11th. It's called Intuitive Certainty, and it talks about every time I didn't listen to myself.
yeah. There you go, right? And so it's like I felt like I was at the intersection of knowing enough to be dangerous and having, but also being able to afford being able to take that risk. And so that was the time. I didn't want to look back. The risk associated with going out on my own seemed pretty steep, but it was nothing compared to wondering what it would have been like if I was 35, 45, 55 years old and never having done it.
Oh,
It
for
was
sure. And
a
you at
pretty easy
least
choice
have
for
that,
me, as crazy
and
as
even
that
the
sounds.
energy and the stamina still too. It's kind of like even like having kids. I'm like, do it when you're younger. When you've got the energy and the time, more time. Because when you started Zig, did you have anyone working for you, or was it just you at the time?
Nope.
It was just you.
All I
And
had
you
was payroll. I had payroll with no employees. Yeah, it's interesting times. I was living I went from I was a 29-year-old young man, married with a 6-month old, making great money in a beautiful home in South
yeah,
Florida.
yeah,
I mean, everything anybody could want.
yeah.
And then moved into my parents' basement with my wife
Oh,
and daughter, and
oh,
with no foresight of income, like no idea where the next dollar was going to come from. But that was a good
oh.
motivator.
Yeah, usually, and for sure, it's either you overspend or you live somewhere crappy, and then you get really motivated to get out.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Or like me, I wanted to get out under from my parents' roof. I couldn't like get working fast enough. No diss on my parents, but I just wanted to get out of the house after college
Fair.
and not live at home. um, Interesting. So, when did you, with starting Zig, what was that first year like then working there? We already know you lived in your parents' basement, which, what
Yeah.
else? Like,
It's interesting. It was 7 years ago, but it feels like a lot longer. I sublet office space from a family friend for $500 a month because I
okay.
couldn't work. I needed a place to have
Yeah.
a meeting.
No. Yeah.
And my infant slash little toddler was probably not the greatest thing to have. As amazing as she is, it wouldn't have been great to have her around while working.
No, I think that's
That's how
great.
that went down. And I started just buying deals. I
Hmm.
just started doing what we do now. What I discovered quickly was that there was a bottleneck. Anytime we'd get several properties under contract, I was focusing on the due diligence, the operating agreement, traveling to the site, negotiating with the tenant if it was an extension, finding out market rents if it was going to be a vacant site, all the things, rates, syndicating equity, procuring debt, and all the things associated with that.
Hmm.
2 or 3 at a time, it got bottlenecked really quickly, and I'd finally get a deal done. And then I'd take a deep breath and I'd say, okay, where's the next one? And there wouldn't be, because I was the acquisitions guy too.
Oh,
So, so quickly discovered that we needed to get some help on the sourcing side. So we've
hmm.
had plenty of acquisitions associates over the years that have done great things, and some of
Hmm.
which don't make it. That's just part of this
Right.
industry, straight up.
Yeah.
And then eventually had operational help. The young woman named Kat Ibanez, who's wonderful. She had to leave
Hmm.
us and me to move to Phoenix with her now husband, and we still keep in touch. And
Yeah.
when Kat left, I said, "Look, you can do whatever you need to do. I'm really happy for you. You just have the only thing I ask before you leave is you find your replacement." And ironically, the first interview we conducted was Hannah Zelinsky, who,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
who I mean, like it was weird because we conducted other interviews after, because I was like, we can't just offer the first person a gig, but like we knew
Yeah.
immediately, and
Right.
here we are going up rounding the corner on year 4. We're together, Hannah and I, and it's been a magical ride, and the company wouldn't be where we are without Hannah's help. So
For sure. She's amazing.
it's been amazing. Yeah,
Give kudos to Hannah.
yeah, she's the best.
She definitely takes like a load off you. So, like in your first year, how many deals did you procure?
I don't remember that number. We've done 70 to date over 7 years, so we're averaging about 10 a year. I think in the first year we did 3 to 5 ish, something like that. I know. I mean, well, interestingly enough, they're right behind me on the wall and
Oh, I
somewhat
figured.
wow.
Yeah.
I think we did 2 in the first year.
Hmm.
And then in the second year, we did, call it 4 or 5.
Okay.
And then the 2020, it got really interesting. Well, no, 2020 was our second year, I guess. 2019. We probably did 5 our first year, 6 or 7 in year 2, and then it sort of has stair stepped up. And this year, we'll
Hmm.
this year is, now that we've grown the team and we've adopted our operating
Hmm.
system called EOS, Entrepreneur Operating System. We will. It's the plan's really taking off now, which I'm excited about.
Good. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So, how many people do you, because of course I know Hannah personally, how many people are working for you that aren't outsourced?
We work with, our team comprises of 5 total people. A couple of them are starting here soon.
Okay.
Sam Gagliardi on the acquisition side, Hannah, myself, and then we have some new acquisition folks starting with us this summer.
Awesome. So when did you start getting into owning franchises?
Um, Good question. So most people, when they start a business like a commercial real estate acquisitions company,
Hmm.
they do things like pick up a side job or maybe do some brokerage to keep the lights on. I was really the monumentally brilliant idea that I had was like, I think I'll just start a second business at the same time, and one of them will work out. It'll be good. So I became an AFC Urgent Care franchisee simultaneously with starting Zig with my business partner, who was my college roommate, and we still own and operate our clinics today. Yeah,
Hmm. So you did that in 2017.
signed the agreement basically like 30 days before I was
Mhm.
leaving PEB, which was at the end of 18. And then we opened our first clinic in September of 2020 in the midst of the COVID pandemic, which all of it
Did
was
COVID really affect you? Like, did it affect you in a lot of ways?
every,
Like
in
every
the
way?
worst ways possible. It was impossible to get a loan. It was impossible to do construction. And in the best ways possible, because we opened our business and boom, we were killing it because we were providing COVID
Right.
testing. So if you wanted to go see grandma or if you felt like shit, either way, you were coming to us. And
Hmm.
we we had it was crazy times then too because we didn't know what we were doing, but we were really busy, which was
But at least it all worked out, right?
I think so. So we're still in business, so that's good.
COVID. I know some people still think they're living in COVID from 5 years ago, but we are in 2026 now. It's
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Yeah.
20 year six.
So we've had a good run with that business. We've got 4 clinics open throughout the Raleigh area, and it's been great.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
So how I mean, I know we just talked about COVID, but I mean, what part of your career was literally the most challenging that it stretched you, and what did you learn from it today? Like, say you did something differently before and you're never going to do it that way again because of this situation.
Jesus. Well, it's funny. I don't know if I'm out of that phase. As interesting as it is, 7 years in,
Hmm.
there was a time, even in the last 30 to 45 days, where all 3 businesses, including TNB, which is our restaurant
Hmm.
franchising venture, like all 3 businesses had major, major shit going on, like
Oh,
major shit. And to a point where, a lot of lost sleep, a lot of not knowing where dollars are going to be coming in at. And again, we talked a little bit about the glorification of entrepreneurship. Like people don't share that stuff. And I think it's important.
right.
I think we have an obligation, people like you and I, to celebrate those crazy times or at least acknowledge them because I don't think we're doing anybody any favors by painting delusional pictures. Like,
Oh, I agree.
it's March 10th as we do this recording. Like I'm talking about like January, February.
Right. Right.
And so that stuff doesn't go away. The other side of it too, like I've been posting pretty frequently
Hmm.
over the last 15 months on my LinkedIn account about mistakes that I've made because again,
God, I love that. I
thank you.
love that
I
because
appreciate that.
you're really clear about that. And that's the whole reason too, like why I started doing this podcast is I like to, I'm doing it for myself, my business, but also I always love to hear how are people successful. I mean, that's what like the fun part of our business is we meet so many people and we're like, how did you get from A to Z? Right. And, because you can't just judge them when they show up, even if you've known them for years. It's not until you have an in depth conversation and their social media is not going to explain it. But what's interesting is yours does. You don't act like you're so great and, I own $100 million company or something like, and look at me. Like, there's a lot that goes behind it, right? I'm married to an entrepreneur too. I mean, I don't want to live in his life like what you deal with owning multiple businesses and the lawsuits and the HR and all this crazy stuff that goes on behind the scenes, like you kind of like pay to play.
Yeah, no doubt. And I, to me, I do it to help caution the people that maybe shouldn't do it because it's not for everybody, and also to
Correct.
educate people
Hmm.
that are cut out for it, and hopefully they can learn from my experience. And if they do, maybe they'll call me with an opportunity.
Has anyone reached out to you when they've read? Because if anyone's not following Aaron Zucker on LinkedIn or social media, you do. I mean, has anyone reached out to you with like that you thought that learned from you at any point or?
I think the majority of the people that reach out are thankful that I keep it pretty real,
Okay, cool.
which it's cool. It's at least tells me at least somebody's reading it. And then there has been, yeah, I mean, like it's helped, with our interviewing, for example. We're constantly interviewing. We just calculated the numbers. Hannah and I shared this with you when we
Yeah, I
went.
really couldn't believe it.
Yeah, we land 1 in 100 candidates that we interview.
It's
So
unbelievable.
but what I will say is the candidates that try entrepreneurship and then come back to realizing that they want an entrepreneurial type of role, but maybe not to become a full blown entrepreneur, they have a lot of respect for what we do. And I think, not I
Oh,
think, they have
good.
told us that part of that comes from the vulnerability of the communication that we put out on
Right.
the social media universes. So,
No,
yeah, from that standpoint, it does happen for sure.
because I mean, brokerage isn't any different. I mean, only 10% of people last. I mean, I just interviewed
Is it
Alan.
that low? I heard the statistical attrition rate for people in production commercial real estate after 2 years is 19%. I didn't realize it could be even
Well, I
lower
mean, if
than
you're going to stay in your career long term, because remember, some people, even by year 10, they're done with it, or seven. I mean, it's a rough road. I mean, it is on because it's entrepreneurial. You're working on commission. You don't get a paycheck. I don't get a steady paycheck, you
right.
know. So,
Yeah.
well, speaking of intuition, it's interesting how you follow, your gut, and the worst decisions you made were when you weren't, listening to it. But speaking of these high stake situations with three different companies, how do you get through it? Like, what do you do to ground yourself or to even think rationally without being in a widespread panic mode?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's interesting. Become accustomed to it. It's just a part of
Mhm.
life. I'll
Okay.
start with that. My stress levels are actually, as crazy as it sounds, it's super, super healthy.
Oh, good.
I mean, I tested like off the charts well on that. I was like, man, I guess if you beat yourself up long enough, then you just become accustomed to it. There's no such thing as a successful day for me without the following three things occurring:
Okay.
workout, read for 15 minutes, write and read my goals. If those three things happen, it's going to be okay. And they do happen just about every day. The other side of it too is I think if you're chasing money or like a specific end result in this business or any of the businesses that I'm involved in, you can go crazy if that's your only mechanism for keeping score. For me, we talk to people in their first day when they start here at Zig. We talk about the recruiting and they've made it all the way to the point to where they would work here. You got to know your why. And for me, my why is being able to fulfill the legacy that my grandparents who were Holocaust survivors started. Like
Hmm.
ooh, you're stressed out because your non-recourse debt's coming due, or like you have a nurse practitioner that may quit, or like your restaurant's getting delayed opening 30 days. Like tough for sure, real problems. But like compare that
Yeah.
to my grandparents who were trying to figure out how to survive. I mean, my grandfather was 5 foot
Yeah.
four. I'm 6 feet. Like
Right.
there's a reason for that. They didn't feed him during his pubescent years. Like so. There's like being able to kind of keep tabs on like what really matters is
Hmm.
probably a pretty critical component of that for me too.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I was even going over just some things today with my finance, my controller. It's like we always say, like everything always seems to work out in the end, anyways, right? Even like from his extreme conditions of surviving, if he can survive that, I think we can all survive like any business, right? In reality.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, I do feel that we as people need to fulfill our why. And also, I don't believe in ever fulfilling anything for anyone else. It's got to be you. It's not for your parents, not for anyone. But I also think you should, in a way, do well for yourself, meaning be happy, do what you want. Because if you're going to go work in a career just for the money, you're going to be miserable. Obviously, you're working to make money, but that can't be the only reason why you're going there. You've got to do what makes you happy and what's, personally fulfilling in your heart too.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. Well, some big wisdom from the host there. I like that. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I should say.
But I mean, I think you put things in a really, really good perspective. Um, when did you ignore your inner wisdom? Speaking of, and what did that teach you? Like, what was it? There had to have been some big fireworks situation.
How much time do you have? Shit.
I know that's why I said the firework, the big one, the big
I mean,
explosion.
I don't know if I'm pretty proud of the fact that I haven't ignored inner wisdom too often. But if you're asking about mistakes I've made, there's a million of
Well, you
those.
mentioned,
I didn't have the wisdom.
okay. Oh, you just didn't have the wisdom. I got it. It
Yeah,
was
I mean,
just
I'm still
I fired
accumulating
up.
it. I'm
Okay.
one thing I take a tremendous amount of pride in is being obsessive, and it's one of our core values here with being growth minded. Every situation is an opportunity to learn. Every situation and every day is an opportunity to get better. And I am not naive enough to think that I am close to perfect or this company is close to perfect. What is
Right.
exciting is that this company is 50 times better than it was when I last year or the year before. And that's the oxygen that I'm looking to consume. And that's
Right.
all we're really looking to do around here is just get better.
Well, and everyone's goal is to get better every day, I think, with themselves, and then it trickles down into your business and your home life,
I don't
right?
know if I buy
So,
that though. Like I think people
yeah.
say that, but I don't think they actually do it.
Oh, they don't.
Like I don't think there's anything like this isn't, I mean, not groundbreaking news, but what you're doing for your business, Tori, and what I'm doing for my business or
Hmm.
businesses, it's not clever. There's nothing unique about starting a boutique brokerage firm or unique about buying single tenant retail properties with a value add
Right.
component. There's a million schmucks doing what I do. I
Yeah.
think what makes your group so successful and the limited success that we've had so far and the trajectory that we're on, which is really exciting for us, is that we're willing to do things that others aren't necessarily willing and able to on a consistent
Right.
basis. That's the
Yeah,
key
and
there.
you're also consistent with the product you're buying too. Like you're not like all over the place. Like you know exactly what you want, where you want it. And the one thing
They
about
might
you,
be vacant, business and real estate, short-term lease, net lease
yeah,
product across the country. If anybody has deals, send them our way. So yes,
yeah.
that is true.
And you do buy across the United States, like where some people I interview will only stay within their backyard or states that are surrounding their states because they know they can drive in a day if something was shit's hitting the fan, right? But you go all over to buy this single net, triple net lease, but you also buy multi,
We've done
unit
it. Yeah,
or
we've done it.
commercial, but
We've
multi-unit,
focused less on we're focusing less on multi-tenant. Doesn't mean we
right?
won't do it, but it has to be
Hmm.
really exciting
A
and
good
have to
value
be
add.
good. That's right.
Hmm. Yeah. So speaking of environments, kind of like going back, like what kind of environment did you create or and still creating at Zig that you didn't experience anywhere else? Like what did you want to create for yourself
It's a
and
great
your people?
question. The biggest thing, I think one of the biggest motivating factors for me, aside from fulfilling my why and feeling like I was at the right intersection of being equipped enough to do it, but also not too complacent. The big thing for me was being afforded opportunities that I wasn't given.
Oh,
That really was participation in owning commercial real estate. We've got kids, I call them kids. I call them young people who are fresh out of school, 22,
young
23 years
adults.
old,
Hmm.
young adults
Hmm.
who don't know what a cap rate is one day, and then 6 months later, they're a minority owner in a commercial real estate property. So I would
Hmm.
say affording our team and creating a platform that gives folks minimum investment opportunities that don't have one internally
Okay.
is exciting, and being able to see them turn their 5 grand into 7,200, and then the 7,200 turn into nine, and then the nine turns into 13, and the 13 turns into 18, the 18
Hmm.
turns into 27, and then next thing you know, they've got 6 and 7 figure net worths based on the cash that they're accumulating from the fees that they generate, plus the promotes that they earn on the equity that they have. That's exciting. I mean, and the type of person who works here and fits in with our culture is far more excited about that than like a ping pong table in the office or a 401k.
Right.
And
Right. I mean, because the thing is I think that's an interesting point you have because I was just interviewing Natasha Falcone right before I interviewed you, and I didn't realize because I would estimate it's probably definitely less than 50%. It's probably maybe if you're lucky 20% of companies where they do offer equity. I mean, I do work with a lot of people work for large private companies, even family offices that do what you do, but it's not the norm. And I don't think people realize that. But on the other flip side, you can make a lot of money doing what you did before too. You can make an extremely nice living,
yeah,
but it's
different
just not,
strokes for different
it
folks.
just
Yeah.
doesn't have the equity. It just doesn't have the equity that you're providing and what some other private companies provide. And I think it keeps people too longer. They're less apt to leave because not everyone's going to offer that, right? When you're working for a developer like your landlord developer like yourself.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of values do you protect the most inside your company?
Our
Like,
core
what are
values, that's the easiest question you've asked me. Growth minded,
mm-hmm,
resilient, integrous, positive, and
mm-hmm,
collaborative. We hire, we fire, we lead, we promote. Everything that we do is based on those pillars.
okay,
And I would take the 22-year-old who doesn't know what a cap rate is that fulfills those 5 things over the
mm-hmm,
15-year vet who's got a great set of
right,
experiences but isn't necessarily growth minded or may have positivity concerns or whatever. It's so easy for us. It's like breathing, be able to
right.
make those decisions.
And then they're trainable too when they, I think, have those core, when they have the core values you spelled out too. They need to be trainable when they don't know cap rates.
Sure.
um, well, because you're an active investor, you're a GP, general partner in all these deals. I'm mostly an LP in deals.
A
I
great
do,
one at that, by the way. I
yeah.
love you as an LP. You're amazing.
Why? Because I don't agitate you and call you every 5 minutes.
You write checks. You don't ask questions except on the front end, and you're wonderful to work with. If every one of our investors was like Tori Nook, I'd be very happy.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
That was
Well, I
Hannah's
think,
words too, by the way.
well, I think I just
You get it.
definitely go off my gut too. Well, I do get it. That's probably half the battle, but I mean, I also kind of work off my gut and I know what I want. Like I just told you today, I don't want to have long term. I would rather have the short term stuff
Yeah,
for
you're
me.
with the
That's
right
just
group
what I
then.
like. So,
Yeah, you're with the right group.
because I like the getting the money and the more money faster to put more money in the next ones, right? So just a little faster of a build.
Sure.
Um, and if people, not me, but I mean, if other people needed faster cash and faster investments, short term's the way to go. It's all up to you what you want to do. There's no
Amen.
right or wrong way. Um, what do you think really separates people who build real longevity in what you do and don't burn out or fall off? Because I've seen guys fall off or totally lose it.
Yeah.
Am I going on year 26 in this in
I think
brokerage?
it's I think you know the I think it's about specificity and niche,
Hmm.
being in the right niche. Well, first of all, being in a niche. You
Hmm.
commented on it earlier. It was an interesting observation. Yeah, we're geographically diverse, but our asset type, I mean, we are only retail, pretty much only net lease, single tenant, and we are doing everything that we can to have macroeconomics not really play too much of a factor in our success, meaning that building to X, selling at Y, and it's not a lot of ground up construction. So we're able to recycle in and out of deals quickly and have more predictability and building with appropriate spreads because we work with emerging operators. Like we know what we want. We're not really getting distracted with noise. So I think trying to get people who get over their skis and one day are retail investors and the next day they're multi-tenant
Right.
industrial and then the following day they start buying hotels. Like,
Yeah. Right.
I don't
They're
know.
all very
You have
different.
to have a concentration. And there's something to be said for geographically concentrated too. Like some of the best investors in Cleveland are probably just really good at Cleveland and they can do any asset type in Cleveland. We're to take the opposite approach. We do a certain asset type, but we can go almost anywhere to do it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And there's no right way. It's what are you comfortable doing, right? I
That's right.
mean, it doesn't really matter. Why did you start the Limitless podcast?
Good question. When I'm doing the admin stuff for it, I ask myself the same question. No, I'm kidding. A couple of reasons. Number one, brand credibility. When I started doing it, I was alone, and
Yeah.
it was important for sellers, brokers, industry folks to take Zig seriously. And one thing that I know I've always had is an amazing Rolodex
Okay.
with a great guest like yourself.
Yeah.
And being able to land the magnitude of the guests that we've been able to land, like you could go through our guest list and be like, oh shit, like this guy knows people. That must mean he's at least somewhat, or the company's at least somewhat legit. So it was about building credibility. It was about attracting talent. I think that there's, obviously, as it's been made very clear today, we don't necessarily value experience nearly as
Hmm.
much as we do mindset. And I think
I agree
that's
with that.
good because you don't have to have experience to listen to a podcast. And if you are listening to a podcast like this one or like ours, it shows that you're growth minded and you want to get better. Like there's not like, it's not
Right.
like a major entertainment factor associated with either one of our podcasts, right? Like nobody's like cracking up laughing the entire time or anything like that.
Hmm.
And so I think it demonstrates a discipline that they want to get better. So I want to be top of mind for those people. And as they're considering either career changes or launching into a career, Zig is maybe somewhere that they consider. And then lastly, additional deal flow, whether if it's an operator who hears it that would want to partner up with us so we can help them grow by opening new locations with little to no capital off their balance sheet, or a seller or a broker who may have a freestanding single tenant deal with a value add component that Zig should be looking at. It's a good way to stay top of mind and help get the message out there.
For sure. I mean, the credibility is very in your face evident. If anyone's listened to your podcast or even see your guest list too, I love your podcast. I love how you interview too. I think you do a great job.
Thank you.
Um, and your guests have been really insightful as well. But have you received any deals or hired anyone from it yet?
I think so. I'd have to think through
Okay.
that. I've definitely formed some partnerships from it.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of a specific acquisition that may have come of it. I don't know. I know one thing. It's furthered relationships too. Like
Okay.
it's been really great because it's a little tougher for someone to ignore my call when I'm like, "Hey, remember that time I had you on our podcast?" No, I'm being stumped in real time here. Yeah, there's it's been a great investment of time. Yeah,
That's good. That's
yeah,
good.
for sure.
Or you wouldn't do it.
Exactly.
But it's time consuming, um, but fun. And I learn a lot too, which is what I like as well.
Love that.
So when, you know, being um, a single dad, how has like the fatherhood like shaped you and like how you lead and define success?
Yeah, and I don't mean to disrespect anybody who doesn't have kids. Let's say this.
Oh,
I
for
really
sure.
don't mean to do that.
It's a
But
personal
but
choice.
if you don't have kids yet, you're not busy. Meaning you have time. And that's not sorry, that's harsh. What I
That's so
mean when
true.
I say that is there's bandwidth to make that extra call,
Hmm.
to fit in that workout, to
Work out
do
all
whatever.
weekend.
Yeah, exactly. Work on nights and
Work on the
weekends.
weekends.
Yeah, you look at, our model at Zig, and that's more of a limited data set. But if you look at investment sales
Hmm.
brokerage, look at Matthews, look at Sands
Yeah.
Investment Group, look at some of the more like
Hmm.
the shops that have skyrocketed to success. They've done it based on really, by and large, inexperienced people expediting their growth in the business. And the only way to do that is the additional time.
Yeah, it's
So
7 days a week. Hmm.
so what having kids has done is as much as it takes away my time, it's also afforded me the opportunity to learn how to use my time in the best ways possible. I've gotten far better about saying no to things that don't fit within my roles. It's allowed me the opportunity to get a real reflection on, should I be on the phone or in an in-person meeting right now, or doing admin work. And if you're doing admin work on a Tuesday at 2:30, that's probably not highest and best use. There's a lot of nights where after my kids go to bed, I open up the laptop. Then I've gotten a lot better about protecting my sleep, and realizing the value associated with that as I've entered in my mid and soon, or I guess I'm technically in my late 30s. But yeah, so I've kind of reverse engineered that to where a lot of the admin stuff gets done in the mornings. There is no more there's nothing more productive for me than the weekends that I don't have my kids, which is 50% of them from a work standpoint. If I'm not out having fun or whatever on a vacation, like
Right.
the insane amount of work that I can get done knowing that I'm like in a hypersensitive mode of, okay,
Hmm.
if I can bang out 4 or 5 hours worth of work on Saturday or Sunday morning
Right.
and do the other things that make a day great for me. Like going into Monday, I walk in here, I'm sitting in the Zig conference room as I say this. I walk in here, the team can feel it, I'm sure. They probably like, who, this guy's fucking insane, but like I'm ready to roll because I'm caught
Yeah.
up and ready to
Yeah.
invest the time,
I feel
energy, and
good.
effort into the team that they deserve. And there's no
Yeah.
one else I'd rather be doing this with.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. What's the hardest part about juggling your business growth with fatherhood that people really don't see behind the scenes
What is the hardest part about juggling fatherhood
in your
with
business
my
growth?
business growth? Um,
that people don't see. Because I mean, I love your social media pictures when you're on the grocery store and you're doing all these things.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, I need to commend and applaud my ex-wife. She's wonderful.
Hmm.
And by and large, she does a really great job of we do a good job. I would say that because she's type A accountant and my travel schedule I'd be the first to admit it's a little insane.
It's crazy when you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
It's something
She does a good job. She does a good job provided I give enough advance written notice. To sound like I sound like a tenant exercising an option to work with me. Yeah, to work with me when the event when the event isn't going to plan it around my kid's schedule. Now that said, if it's travel to a site or anything that I have control over, I'm running extraordinarily hard on the days that I don't have my kids, so that way I don't miss any time with them. And so I start by saying that I couldn't do what I do without the high involvement from my ex-wife, who's great. And then secondly, I would say that it's about keeping the main thing. And I work with great teams. I think the biggest strength that I have as an entrepreneur is, and I give a lot of credit to operators. I think about Trent Norris, who's really running the operations in a stellar way with our AFC business, for example. I commend him because he leads our team of 80. And what it allows me to do is allows me to invest in him and be obsessed with his growth and be a resource for him, because I can't do it for the other 80 the way that I can for Trent. And it's the same way here on this side of the world with Hannah and Sam, being able to invest heavily in those folks because I know how great they are, and being able to leverage their superpowers of leading larger teams or other people. It just allows me to just focus in on my core group professionally. And the same will occur on the TNB side. With my partners, Eric and Bob Peterson, I won't be able to help out the person who's working at the cash register at our 7 Brew Coffee that opens next month. I just won't.
Right.
But if I can invest and commit to Bob and Eric the same way that I have with Trent and Hannah and everybody else that I'm involved with, it'll work out okay. And that allows me and affords the opportunity to block 5 to 7:30 each night that I have my kids, which is 2 weeknights a week.
Okay.
And I do my best to shut it down unless if it's a major emergency. And then after 7:30 or 8 when they're in bed, pick it back up again if I need to, or just get up on the earlier side of the morning. I'm a morning person, and I think you've gotten some absurdly early emails from me, and for that I apologize, but I know you understand it. So
I wake up at 5 every day. I mean, I can't work out, do all my stuff in a day if I don't.
Yeah.
That's Monday through Friday though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, get your sleep. I get it.
Yeah, it's huge. It's so important. So what do you want Sophie and Ari, and you bring them to work. I know they're learning, they're watching dad. What do you want them to learn from you? What character and, faith values, because everything isn't just about success. What do you want them to learn from you?
My biggest challenge as a parent is going to be to provide them with as much education and exposure as I can to my grandparents who are no longer here. I got to experience, I saw my grandparents' tattoos on their forearms. I saw how short they were. I noticed they could barely speak English because they grew up in Poland and then, had to learn German and stuff. I saw that. My kids won't see that. So I don't really give a shit what they decide to do professionally, as long as they.
What do you want them to learn from you?
I want them to learn that that's really important where they came from. And I want them to learn that, there's a funny clip. It's funny, but it's also true. Shaq tells his kids, "You're not rich, I'm rich." I want them to feel I don't plan. Yeah, they're young. They probably won't go back and find this, but if they do, they'll have their own daddy issues to this. But I don't plan to leave them a lot of money. I really don't. And I think that is one of the biggest things that I can afford them as a parent, is to show them how to do it as opposed to catching the fish for them. And I think handing a child a bunch of money is a bad way to do that. Now, if they come up with a great business plan, or if they come work at Zig or in brokerage or whatever, and they start making a bunch of money and they want to leverage my brain and whatnot, like that's a
Right.
different conversation.
So different. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, so there'll be serious stipulations tied to their accumulation of my wealth passed down to them. And I think that that could be looked at as controversial, but I think that that's just my opinion on what I believe is best for them, coupled with them being highly aware of where they come from. And we talk about it every day. They're still young. Ari turns 5 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Sophie will be 8 next month. We only have 2 rules, and I make them say it every day before we get out of the car or I drop them off at school, which is number 1, try your hardest, and number 2, be nice to people. They're little robots. I'm like, what are the 2 rules? Like, try your hardest, be nice to people.
Yeah, I love that. Try your best. That's great. You're a good dad, Aaron.
They make it easy. They're awesome. And my ex-wife, again, she's an amazing parent. They don't get to where they are without her either. So
it takes 2.
Yep.
2 to tango to raise these little munchkins.
Yep, that's a good way to put it.
Citizens. I always say I just prayed for them when they're little to be productive, citizens in society. I mean, that's what you're raising them to be, and happy. I think the biggest thing is treating people with respect, right? We wouldn't have racism if we treated everyone with respect, right? Like, we're all humans beyond our sex and religion and everything. So anyways, what do you believe? Because when we're growing up, we think success is one thing. Well, now you're 37, you're a grown adult. What part of success do you no longer subscribe to versus your younger version of yourself used to subscribe to?
The notion that I think Gary Vaynerchuk does a really good job of describing success in that it's defined by each person. And so if you feel like you're successful, even if that means a middle income job and great work-life balance, which, it's not for me. I don't care about work-life balance, but if you do, and you want to make $52,000 a year for the rest of your life and never have to think about anything on nights or weekends, and like, that's what makes you happy, then you were successful. And I used to think that success was only tied to becoming a billionaire or whatever that means. Like, I think it needs to be customized to the individual.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say customized to the individual. And I deem myself to be successful as a result of being largely in control of my own destiny, which is really exciting. That's awesome.
Yeah, that is a cool way to look at it, being control of your own destiny. Because, we don't all have the privilege of that, right?
That's right.
We do in a first world country. So, what's the final piece of advice you'd give anybody?
Follow your gut. Follow your gut. Like, literally, I mean, and the other side of it too is no victim mentalities. Like, if you're afforded the opportunity to listen to this and you live in the United States of America, like, you can do whatever the hell you want. Do I agree that some people were born in better situations or have more access to better situations? 100%. They may be on second or even third base, but if you are listening to this and you're in the United States of America, you are at least in the batter's box, probably on first base. So it may not be easy, but you can do it.
Yeah, I love it. That's excellent stuff. Well, I want to thank everyone for listening today, and I want you to tell everyone where they can find you.
Yep. On LinkedIn, I'm Aaron Zucker. On Twitter, whatever it's called these days, Aaron A. Zucker. And on Instagram, I'm Aaron.Zucker.
Okay.
And the company's called Zucker Investment Group. And would love to hear from you if you enjoyed today's show at all.
Absolutely. DM me or Aaron. And as everyone knows, this drops every Tuesday. So definitely rate and review. We're across all podcast platforms on Apple and Spotify and YouTube at Tori Nook. That's a wrap.
Thank you.